Now let's start with that horrific news from the last hour that a priest has been stabbed multiple times whilst delivering a mass at a church in Sydney. With the incident coming just days after a man killed 6 people in a Westfield shopping centre in the same area.
Well, we can now speak with member of the Australian Parliament for the Division of Fowler, Lee. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Absolutely shocking what the world has seen. Footage from this church, this priest brutally stabbed from what we can see. And I know that other worshippers have also been harmed, as we understand. Is that right?
No, look, it's a bishop and it was in his church. He was given a sermon, a wonderful bishop. I know him personally. I've attended his service. Looks like a young man came up and tried to stab him while he was giving the sermon. But I understand that, it has created it was a shocking, obviously a shocking incident, and our community is still reeling from that shock. And as you mentioned earlier, the last couple of days, the incident in Bondi, which is about 45 an hour away from where we are, they're in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, whereas we're in the western suburb of Sydney, that obviously impacts the community. My understanding is that the bishop is currently in our local hospital in Liverpool, and it's not fatal, so thank God for that. But he's a wonderful man, a wonderful bishop, and I know for sure that he would also call for calm. I have one of the most multicultural and multi-faith electorates in the country, in Australia, so I'm very cognizant of the importance of maintaining cohesion at this very obviously sensitive and disturbing time. So I think people are still in shock from the weekend stabbing and killing of innocent lives. So this is just, I think, people already on the edge. But I know that I've heard from the community, members in the community, that he is in hospital and it's not fatal.
It's very, very reassuring to hear that it's not fatal. He seemed like he was such a big figure in the community. I know he had over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is not a particularly common thing for a member of the clergy. But this does seem like Australia is in a moment of crisis right now. It seems like there is something that has gripped particularly Sydney and its suburbs over the weekend and today. What is the sense in Australia? What's gone wrong?
Look, I don't think we're in crisis. It was a very tragic incident on the weekend. And as I don't know if you heard, the man who was shot dead by a great courageous policewoman has suffered from mental health illness. He's dead. I think it's just a shock of the lives lost. And I think people are still reeling from that. I don't think that really is about Australia overall, what's happening. I mean, we have obviously economic challenges, cost of living crisis, but we also have an increase in mental health issues in our community just post-COVID. And I don't know how we are dealing with the whole, I'm sure in Britain as well, COVID has taken a toll on a lot of people's mental health and well-being. So from my perspective, I hope that these 2 incidents, of course, they're not connected, but I just hope that people will take time to not get so emotionally reactive, judgmental, and come at a time when there's so much world conflict that is really causing a lot of tension.
Yes, we understand you have to be careful, but do we have any idea of a motive when it comes to this church attack?
Look, I don't have a motive. I don't know what the motives of this young person, this young man from the obviously video was a young man. You don't know people's motives at this stage. I mean, like that man who went and stabbed and killed people at Bondi Junction. what was his motive? I mean, he had mental health. Sometimes something can snap. Let's not jump to conclusion. Let's not jump to judgment at this stage. I would like to leave all of that to police to investigate. But the most important thing is for me, as the elected member here, that our community have a very strong Assyrian heritage, a group of Australians here who love the bishop, and the bishop loves his congregation.
And I should just say we're looking at images of protests now outside the church. Could you explain what's going on here? There seems to be a huge mass of people who have got to be outside this church now.
Look, I'm not there, but from my guess is that, I mean, like his church, he does draw a lot of followers. And as you mentioned, he's got a huge following. And I think the word would have spread. And, you know, in social media, words get spread so quickly and information gets sent out. And the area is a high population of Australians of Assyrian heritage that live around there. So I have no doubt they would have heard about it. They would have tried to come out and see what was going on. And of course, the rumours is that the person who tried to attack the bishop was still in the church. So I think these community members were angry because the police got there. So that's from my understanding. People are very on the edge at the moment, I think, my community. So I would urge, you know, obviously people, you know, just to be very calm, let the police, and I have no doubt that when the bishop get out, he would also ask for calm. And he's a wonderful man. I can just imagine what he would do. He would say, listen, you know, God's willing, God is, you know, protected him, and we should be forgiving. That is just him, and I can hear him. Ma Murray, that's the bishop there. He's the bishop of the Good Samaritan, because there we've got a few churches of Assyrian heritage here, Assyrian churches. He's one church. There's other churches of Assyrian lineage, Orthodox. Not Orthodox, Assyrian church here.
Well, Daili, thank you so much for bringing us all of that. Really, really appreciate you staying up for us and talking us there from your division there in Parliament, the independent Australian Member of Parliament there for the division of Fowler.
Yes, and we wish everyone well, of course, and to the bishops himself.